So, gentlemen, thanks for joining me, especially in this late hour of the day. I'd like to start with you, Tamil. I was just going through my emails and I saw an email from Bernstein, analyst, and they were talking about, I think it was your Capital Markets Day recently. Yeah, you made an announcement about the outlook. Can you share what public announcements you made and where?
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, it's public knowledge, and we looked again at our targets for the medium term, and we set ourselves a new aspiration. I think everybody of us does that, and we said we want to reach, among other targets, maybe the most tangible one, an 8 to 10% EBIT margin in the medium term. So in the next years. Yeah.
You did not see on the left-hand side Michael's face.
Yeah. Well, he's laughing about 80%. So the topic is, of course, we had paid back all the money we were owing to the governments in the COVID times, more than 1 billion in total, including interest. And we had, of course, a much bigger ship to turn around. So 40 billion turnover, 850 aircraft. This is a big ship with many companies included there, many airlines, that you need to turn around first. So we're happy that we have reached that stage, that the operational efficiency is back to a good track, not yet where we want it to be, but much better than the 3 summers before. And so we can set sights now on the future, and modern retailing will play a big role in that.
I read, I think it was in the previous Capital Markets Day, where one analyst was, there was word that you were going to make an announcement soon of a future partner. Is this something you're going to be sharing with us today, Tamil?
Well, not today, the announcement. It's close to 6 before the dinner. No, we will. We made it strategic decisions that we're going, of course, for Office North. And you know, we have been one of the leaders in the process from the beginning. Well, very early days. Michael still knows 2010s even. There was the first attempts, but I think ever since 2019, 2020, when we together revived it as an industry initiative, we found together a consortium. I think I was happy to see first, airlines going live, but we also make strategic decisions, and we will also announce our partner. But decision that we go this way has been done by our board, and so I'm happy also that now we have set up the organizational preconditions for it internally. So that's also communicated internally already. Yeah. So we're all set, also set for a good start in 2026 for Office and Orders.
Tom, just a question. I don't know if you can answer this question, but I did read in the press that one big European airline who made an announcement was talking of a north of 100 million euros investment in this journey to Offers and Orders. Is that similar kind of?
100 million.
North of 100 million, yeah, investment.
Yeah, I don't think you can exactly say now how much a journey of maybe 10 years that will last for all of us, 5 to 10 years, and not that we can get Offers live, of course, before that, but until this is fully completed, the journey will take time, and this is substantially north of 100 million.
Okay.
Substantially north of 100 million. If you look at the whole timeline, I think there will be more. So the business case is not an easy one in terms of cost. You need to reduce the cost, but you need to, of course, also reap all those benefits, what I call the land of milk and honey of retailing on the revenue side, which is part of the story, which will come probably the second phase of the implementation. Okay,
so before I move to Amit on the commercial side, I just want to go to Michael in terms of numbers, Emirates numbers. Is it, because all this getting away from legacy, it's quite expensive, no doubt. Is it, I mean, I'm assuming it's worth it because you are investing in it, but how do you see that challenge, Michael? Because how do you see the challenge of moving away from legacy from an investment perspective?
No, good question. And I mean, first of all, I want to thank actually the audience still being with us at this time of the day. So that's a round of applause from us to you that you're still listening to us. Secondly, because you talked about the Capital Market Day of Lufthansa Group, so we release our half-year results tomorrow. So I need to mention that as well. There was a lot of talk, coming back to your question, the CFO and the business case. I think we only know what we know at this point, and we shouldn't overemphasize on the correctness of a business case, because I'm really doubtful. If we look at all our IT projects, I think across all the airlines, you need more time and you spend more money in the end, and that is sometimes on much smaller projects. And this is a huge transformation, and I think you can only work with estimates. I think the finance guys will respect this. I think what's more important, because it's this long-term transformation. So whether we get, like a Lufthansa Group or Emirates or Turkish, get hung up on $5 million, euros additional cost, that will not be the deal breaker in the end. The key topic is, what can we generate on the revenue side? Okay. We talked a lot about in earlier conversations, unlocking the real customer value. Thinking about this morning when we talked about payments, I think there's a lot which will come into play on the payment side as well. That should bring the real benefit long term.
Okay, no, thank you. Thanks for that, Michael. Amit, I said we'd come back to you. I think from Turkish Airlines, you said earlier today that you kind of actively, you've got a plan. Can you share what kind of commercial benefits do you see coming out of this journey?
Well, remember what you shared with us yesterday, just underlining the importance of the payments, the issue, the total revenue created by the airline for annual year, which is around something like $1.1 trillion, right?
Correct, yeah. So,
Right?
sorry, I mean, what Amit's referring to, ladies and gentlemen, is Sandrine talked about it this morning in the panel. It's roughly the total amount of revenues collected by airlines on an annual basis is roughly about $1 trillion, just under $1 trillion, and a 22 billion cost. Yeah. Right, so that's what you're referring to. I mean, yeah.
And based on the number of World Tourism Council, which is a part of the United Nations, I think, if we just enlarge the scale up to the entire travel industry, then that number goes up to $7.2 trillion. So what I'm just sharing this data with you is, well, with the modern airline retailing, of course, the airlines have more capability to increase their wallet share, right? Okay. So, which means it definitely fits the strategy of not only for Turkish, but also our friends from Lufthansa and Emirates as well. So, we believe that it's a huge opportunity for airlines. So definitely we're going to be on the...
So what we're saying is that the basic... So your point was that if the basic, the current amount of airline revenues collected is roughly $1 trillion, then you're saying in a world of modern retailing, when you can act as a true retailer, that potential is multiplied 7 times in terms of size. Is that something, Temur, that you would agree to as well? You see that agility and it opens you to this much, much bigger market?
In what sense?
If I think Amit's point is that if you limit today, say the $1 trillion total revenues collected by airlines, the large majority is flights and ancillaries. Yeah.
Actually, I think we should reinvent the word ancillaries.
Right.
Let's get rid of that. Let's call it new revenue. Let's call it something else, because the importance of these revenue streams will multiply. They will become much more important than the traditional part of bundling a ticket. I think we will have a great opportunity with other things. The precondition is the modern airline retailing world, of course. Some things we can do already now. Some of the new technologies like agentic AI will play very soon a big role. But there are opportunities. Some of the US carriers, if you know it, they're already making most of the profit with the loyalty schemes they have with the credit cards. So, but loyalty is not just credit cards. Loyalty is not just what we currently see as frequent flyer programs. Loyalty goes much beyond that. It's about data retailing, it's about currency retailing, the miles, it's about partner retailing, commission models, and often, and not yet captured by our industry, media retailing. The question, how much we can do media retailing. So the question, how much money you can also make with your spaces. When you have Wi-Fi broadband, you can use that for retailing. Just to one number, the revenue that YouTube makes with advertising is as much as the total turnover of Netflix. So advertising income from YouTube is as much as the total turnover of Netflix. Just imagine what you can do with passengers that is in your space, in the travel journey, how much you can do there. So I think that's a collective topic. So there are completely different opportunities. So even the numbers that we heard, I think, are conservative.
Okay, all right. Michael, I just want to come back to you from a finance point of view. We said, when we prepared, we just had a brief conversation about it from an investor point of view. Right? You as a CFO of a group the size of Emirates, what kind of signals are relevant would an investor be looking for when they're observing what's happening in the airline industry in this journey to modern airline retailing?
It's actually quite interesting to see, because when we talk to banks and financial institutions, you can realize that they actually look at modern airline retailing. So they associate themselves with this. They want to understand what goes on in the industry and what's the journey. I mean, you can simply go back to KPIs we have already, whether it's RASK, whether it's, what's your profitability per customer. But I'm coming back again this morning when we had the chief economist presentation. I mean, look at what is the average profitability of this industry. We are below 4%. Yeah. In some regions, it's even more dramatic. And that is clearly not sustainable. We have a backlog of now roughly 8,000 to 10,000 aircraft. Where should all this capital come from? We're fighting for in the financial markets. We're not the only ones who need money. And if we come with these kind of low margins, financial institutions will twice think whom they will give the money to. So there is an absolute need that through modern airline retailing and gaining more control about distribution and providing more value for the customer, which leads to higher profitability, that we actually increase the margin at an industry level. And that's what the investor community is actually interested in.
So they would see that they would look at the opportunities around offers and orders, for example, and that would translate into bottom line. I think tomorrow afternoon, for those who are here about 2:30, 3:30, we're going to have a panel with a couple of consultants and Victor Cheng from Bank of America. So we'll be talking about this as well. How's it interpreted in terms of the bottom line implications. For you, Amit, is there anything you'd like to add on this topic?
I think more or less we're on the same page. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to, I want to talk about technology and AI a little bit, because in our advisory councils yesterday, we had a good chat about that. And I can see Tamu's got that smile on his face where he's got an opinion there on something. So why don't we start with you, Tamu, and how do you see AI, digital technologies reshaping your whole strategy? How do they impact your strategy?
Well, we all have an opinion, I think, and I have also an opinion. And Keith Wallace this morning was mentioning our dinner conversation last evening, where we had 4 people and 4 opinions. So I think a few things are becoming clear already, and a lot of still shady out there. But what is clear already is this is the biggest invention in the history of humankind in terms of technological progress.
We talk about AI.
The agentic AI,
Yeah, okay,
AI,
right.
the way of, well, we have done AI before, but the new way of doing AI now. So this is something which is so fundamentally different from anything we have seen before that there is no way back, for sure. And other technologies we talked in this conference, like blockchain and so on the B2B side, they probably will also creep in step by step, but not with the same pressure like this technology is coming now, because it's coming from the B2C side. It's coming from the end customer. It's coming from you planning your trips and your kids doing it, trusting in that. Trust and autonomy are the 2 key critical points. How much it is an autonomous actor, how much you can trust it. Trust level will for sure go up, but we have to secure the guardrails. But this thing is going to change our world for sure on the front end. It's already done. I don't know how you planned your last summer trip, but we'll have to see then how much it's also going into other parts of the value chain. There, I'm a bit more cautious, because if it's not 100% or even 99% trust level, you probably cannot use it for exact processes like back-end piping of offers and orders. That's a much more tricky thing. So don't get overhyped also on that one. But everywhere where the customer is using it from the B2C side, it will definitely have a major change effect. Yeah. And we're not talking about several years, we're probably talking about a few years only. That's coming quicker. And I'm not overhyping, I hope, in my perspective, it's coming quicker than we think.
Ahmed, do you agree with that? With Tamu's view?
Yes, I agree with Timur. I think the point of view of the AI, agentic AI, is one of the biggest innovation in the world, in the civil aviation history, of course, after the jet engines. Yeah, still, only this, there are a lot of, not a lot of, but just there are only a couple countries have this technology in terms of jet engines. On top of that, I could say, I think my point of view from a commercial perspective, the AI, how much it facilitates the entire journey seamless experience. Just you don't have to put, you don't have to keep the records of PNRs and EMDs and all the things, etc. Just provide the seamless experience for our customers. So I definitely believe that it's going to change the whole entire civil aviation and open new horizons for us to bring new revenue pillars. So this is the things what we have to focus on, especially for a commercial guy. And I'm trying to, just I said in the morning, I'm trying to convince my colleagues, CFO and the CIO, so look, we have to invest on those things. So at the end of the day, I believe that, Tamer is very right. Yeah, so that definitely changed the entire civil aviation.
So you see it as an opportunity actually to increase. Okay. So Tamer, you see it as an opportunity as well?
If you get the guardrails right. So we have to make some things, some preconditions have to be fulfilled. So as usual with new technologies, there's always a pro and a con, but the pros are definitely much more.
Okay. Michael, I'm going to ask you a commercial question, if that's okay. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So do you believe that, because Tamer was talking about the whole front, you're losing control of the front end. So I don't know if you're referring to Tamer, which is natural search, where someone now would go to ChatGPT or whatever and just start searching for the trip, assume they trust the answer because the answer potentially could be really well personalized because of how much it knows. Do you think this could mean the end of airline websites?
I think you asked a similar question this morning to Keith.
Exactly,
if I'm not,
exactly.
mistaken. So I listened carefully.
I'd like your opinion, Michael, not Keith's answer.
Yeah. No. It's my opinion. I think the websites, the airline apps will still remain for quite a while. I think it needs to be seen how this AI hype now transfers into a kind of long-term behavioral change. Is it specific to generations, right? Is more of our customers adopting to this? I think we're all a little bit in the dark or in a gray area here, because it is what Tamer said, right? It's something really revolutionary, extremely new. It comes at high speed, but we need to see how is it progressing in certain areas. I mean, I don't want to compare it necessarily with blockchain a couple of years ago. I think that was at a more contained level. There was a lot of hype around this as well. If you look in today's world, where is it really used and delivering really benefits? I'm doubtful. AI is a different topic. Don't get me wrong, but for now I would say.
Oh, you're doubtful about blockchain, you mean? Okay. Yeah. Does anyone here think that the whole blockchain phenomenon is similar to the AI phenomenon now?
No, I'm not saying it's. But there was a hype as well,
exactly,
right?
No, that's what I mean. Exactly. Yeah, does anyone think it's as big as what's happening today? I don't think so. Huh? I think, why don't you go on, Tamer?
No, I mean, we all get a bit over-enthusiastic when we see new technologies. That's the natural curves that are there. But the sheer numbers of what's happening now is so overwhelming. There can be no doubt that this is fundamental. So we came from that digital first, mobile first, social first, although it's not so much social anymore, it's more consumption now. There's not too much engagement between people. It's different now. And this agentic first, I think, is coming quickly. So it will be parallel words for the time being, but it will become much less with the format. So it's not about the app or the website or the voice element. It's a question of the combination of script, voice, and pictures, and how we want to consume them as individuals. And for sure, we will rest much more on advice of this agentic AI, which means on the other side, we as airlines, and that's the consumer, and we as airlines also need to have our preparation for our agentic AI. In the end, it's a negotiation between two agentic AIs, possibly. So we will see how much this gets federated, how much is individualized, that's not clear. The industry has not a clear path yet, but this trend's already emerging, and the parallelity will be there, but there's no question, I think, there's a fundamental change coming.
Okay, if I may add, Yannick, I'm sorry because you asked me about the website, but the other topic I think is, I mean, for me, a big question is also our whole IATA industry governance, right? And in terms of how slow the governance process is, and here comes with high-speed AI. If governments are already struggling in putting rules and laws up and can't cope with this, what does that actually mean for our industry in terms of all the standard setting, right? We can't have process, if we believe that AI is coming through what we just talked about, then we can't have discussions anymore who take us 3 or 4 years in terms of decision making, because then I'm afraid then it's more impactful on us than we think today.
Okay, so Amit,
I got some notes about the website issue. So,
Sorry, say again?
Yeah, website. The question about the website. I think as long as we just keep the value-driven proposals in our direct distribution channels, such as we have loyalties, such as because of having loyalty, we can have the personalized offers. So, which means I think for a foreseeable future, we need airline websites. This means I'm not against agentic AI. I do respect the capabilities of those. We should find a balance between those, but I'm surely
you're confident.
Yeah, confident about the airline websites make sense for a foreseeable future. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, this is very mature approach to things. Balanced and cautiously confident, optimistic. Do you see that, Temel? But do you see this moving fast? Do you think it could impact your offers orders roadmap? Because we were talking about it, I think, earlier today with another panel. You've got this 5-year roadmap, say, offers and orders. It's, the rails are there. But the speed at which, you mentioned speed at which this is evolving, could it kind of derail you?
Well, as I said, I think everything that's more on the front side, more on the offer side, there's more disruption coming. I think more on the order side, on the piping, on the backbone, up to delivery, even accounting. I think where we need the precision of each transaction, it will take longer. Yeah, we have to manage, and I said guardrails are important. The two things of autonomy, increasing autonomy of those agents. Yeah. How do we guardrail that? And secondly, the trust level needs to go up further. So at the moment, I don't know, we have an 80% trust level, wherever your personal conviction is. When you had the change from the landline phone to the mobile phone, we came from 100% to 98%. We were happy with 98%. Sometimes mobile phone doesn't work. But with 80%, we cannot live. So even if the kids of Keith this morning are trusting it, we cannot rely on 80%. So it has to come up. But the speed with which it comes up is quite substantial. So we will reach it. And the more and more we will then penetrate also deeper into the qualitative funnel of our modern airline retailing story. But it will take time. So it starts first there. But there's a lot of commercial opportunity early in the funnel. That's already there. This we can already do now as we speak. We just have to make sure, and that I'm very much with Michael, that also from an industry side, we accompany that. So what are the fundamental standards and principles we will now implement as an industry, or we're going to have Wild West? And I think nobody of us wants to have again Wild West. So that's also a plea for action. Yeah. Back to IATA and ourselves, we need to act on this now. Yeah? Okay, so this is nothing we can just wait for 2 years.
Good, okay, because when you I was saying mature, I was kind of hinting that, but you're saying we've got to move fast and try and keep some order in all this. Good, let's talk about organizations and alignment and changes here. Michael, tell us about, because I thought Amit was going to tell us about this at 2 o'clock, but he went into his heart and his mobile phone. His mobile. Michael, actually, one concrete question that Amit did not answer, I said I would ask, is so you're doing some RFIs right now. When is the rough timeline when you consider potentially making a decision on partners to move forward in offers and orders?
Yeah. So the RFI was out. So we have the 12 vendors, I think Amit mentioned it. They all responded. They're all keen to work with us, which is good to see. So we are now looking at them. The workshops will go on over the next couple of weeks. Next step is then most likely to see with whom do we want to progress further. Then there's an RFP process, and then we need to examine in terms of, okay, what is it, what's in front of us, then comes the famous business case in one way or the other, and then we need to take a decision in terms of the implementation. I think there's a lot of commitment in general around the Emirates Group that we want to go ahead with modern airline retailing. That's very clear. We have an executive board with a couple of board members from all areas included who steer this project. So everyone is involved just to make sure that we capture on such a major transformation all the aspects. Yeah, I think it's creating some steam. And I think the more educational pieces you put around and the more colleagues get familiar with it, they see the need for it. So.
Okay, so rough timeline?
2026.
Okay, thank you. That took me 2 representatives of Emirates plus 5 minutes. There you go. Well, thank you very much, Michael.
You're welcome.
And I think Mercedes is kind of roughly in line with the roadmap as well, the way the industry's moving. I just wanted, because earlier on, so I'm not going to ask you again, Ahmed, but I think it was Karen was telling us that you were recruiting some retailers in here, actually. But these retailers, sorry, but I'm going to ask you again, you're not recruiting any new skills in the commercial area.
We do.
You do, okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, in order to match the necessary balance between the IT and the business, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So we do have some experienced guys on that manner, distribution side, and not in the modern airline because it's all new for us.
Exactly.
But we're going to make an harmonized, team for that. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me on the Lufthansa Group. Well, what about skill sets? How do you see? Do you see there's a need to bring in new skill sets?
Yeah, I mean,
what kind of?
For some of these things, I said, for example, media retailing. This is not a skill set we have in-house.
Yeah.
And some other airlines have moved on this early stage, so we bring also external talent. But we're also currently ramping up our team to look at the offers and orders roadmap. So we're ramping up the team now. We're bringing talent in from in-house, but there will be definitely, when it comes more to the modern way of doing retailing, also external talent. So it's going to be a mix. And I think, I'm pretty positive on it, actually. I'm a good hopes now that 26 will be another leap in that respect. Yeah.
Good. So lots of things happening in 2026. Just one question before we kind of close is Chanel was moderating a panel with OTA and 2 TMCs, FCM, Navan, and Expedia, and she just asked them one question as to what would they want to ask a panel of airline executives, and I think the 3 things that came out is about. Let's stop fighting about the customer. Who owns the customer? We all care about the customer. Could we think about an opportunity to share data to better serve the customer? And finally, could you bring all your e-commerce capabilities available on your APIs? So in other words, for the indirect channel. So just 3 things. What I'd just like is if you could just give a high-level view on that, because we've been talking just a lot about the whole airline, but there is a whole ecosystem out there that constitutes the value chain. So, Ahmed, do you have a view on that relationship with travel agents, sharing, collaboration?
I think so, yeah, because we need their support, because they know the needs of their customers. So I think we should be in touch with them to produce the necessary platform. Maybe Kerem has already mentioned with you, but I think we decided to build our own in-house built, modern airline retailing program, which is called Smart Airline Retailing Program. So in order to catch, the necessary level of appreciation with the product, I think we have to work with them. Yeah.
Okay, Tamil, did you got any views on that? Anything you want to just to reassure?
I think from the beginning we always said we have a partnering approach. So I think modern airline retailing includes working on the joint ecosystem. So there's no partner we exclude as long as he can contribute value for fair costs, and we have a joint vision of how we develop the topic in the interest of the customer. So I think each of those players will play an important role. And when it comes to data, of course, we can share data in a way that is organized with certain structures. We have to, of course, make sure that those data have the value, they are compensated and traded, and then you can, of course, share all those things with those partners. There should be some rules of the game. Yep. We not just open up the books and say, here's the data, obviously, but there's bringing 2 different data sets together already can create additional value. Yeah? So if two loyalty systems of a OTA with an airline is put together, already that can create additional value because there's attributes that have not been seen in the same combination before, and that is already an opportunity. Joint marketing action. You don't spend a penny extra, you just bring it to the same timing, you have a partnering use case already. So there are lots of opportunities while you keep certain guardrails.
Okay. No, I think it's potentially a good way to increase the knowledge of the customer to be able to target more personalized versus some other channels that may also want to do some personalization. Right, just to wrap up real quick, 3 quick questions. I'm going to start with you, Ahmed, about 2030. What's your bold prediction? What do you see in 2030? Other than Turkish Airlines ruling the world with its...
Well, I'm not that old enough to make bold predictions against life, but I can tell you what can I tell you. I think the purchasing behavior of the passenger is going to definitely change. Right. And I don't know, it's going to be voice command or other things, but what I believe is the one bold prediction, if I have to make, the purchasing behavior is going to be totally changed for the next years. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Tamu, what are the... Well, I was going to ask you a different question. What are the strategic capabilities that will define the winners in the next phase of airline retailing?
Well, there's a big factor, it's the tech capability, obviously. So to have the technological knowledge with the partnering that you need there, the partnering ability, I think, will be there. The understanding of these value chains of modern air retailing to come into a different level of profitability on the revenue side, and very much getting brick and mortar right. Yeah, we will double in the end in the next 20 years. We're not talking 2030, but we talk about the next 20 years. Our industry will double the size of passengers. But aircraft will be a limiting factor. So managing constraints will still be with us, and we will have to manage all those different crises coming in still in the next years. But I think that's one thing we have learned is really the hard way is to manage those crises. So that's a risk management, if you want, and management of constraints is another key capability.
Thanks, Timur. So, Michael, when I asked you this question when we prepped the session, you said, what is the biggest misconception you've heard regarding offers and orders?
Yeah, I think we discussed it yesterday in the council, and I would actually answer it the other way around. It's like we have to educate now the entire industry. I think there is a lack here. That's what we hear from our business partners when they look at RFPs or RFIs. I think we're now at that critical stage, right? We've seen the timeline before. It's now coming, and it's coming very fast. And we need to make sure that it's not just the consortium partners, not just the airlines who sit on the councils. We have so many 100 members out there, and I think there is a clear lack of understanding what this whole transformation of modern airline retailing is about. So there is a piece of education which we need to enforce.
Okay,
now.
great. So I think thank you for closing with the industry perspective, which is here we have leaders, but part of the role of the leaders from an industry context is to help all the followers. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging in with us. As Michael was said, there are drinks outside. Please give a big round of applause to my colleagues here. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen.